Okay guys, welcome to video 8. We're going to cover some more manipulative tactics that inmates can employ, kind of dealing with their motivation of why they do what they do. Also going to reiterate on some of the topics that we discussed before, basically some of the personality traits, that insight we need to have both on our personality and the situation. And we're going to start off with that because I want to finish off on what personality traits can increase the target on your back. And we came up with 3 personality traits. You have the soft personality trait, the medium personality trait, and the hard personality trait. Obviously, the medium personality trait is where you want to be. It's a balance of both the soft and hard. But let me just go over some of these personality traits. And guys, right off the bat, you're going to know, since we've gone through all these videos, why these personality traits will not work in corrections. Starting with the soft. Very trusting, overly familiar, naive, wants to help, sympathetic, the inability to say no, you're gullible, you're careless, you're too lenient. We know right off the bat after watching these videos why that will not work in this profession. So again, get insight, look at yourself and ask yourself, do any of the traits that I just mentioned fit within your personality? But let's talk about the hard side. Some people think, well, Gangi, I just say no to everything. So here we go, strictly by the book. Everything is black and white, no in between, no leeway, macho syndrome, obsessive, demanding. I'm gonna give you guys a little something here. When you're constantly by the book and you think of everything as just black and white with no in between, you become very predictable. Very, very predictable. Inmates will look at you and like, well, this person can't adapt and adjust. In this profession, that's what you have to do. You have to be able to adapt and adjust. So think about that. A lot of inmates will think that you're always going to that rule book because that's your backbone. That's your backbone. And they will play games with you if they can predict what you're going to do next. And they're able to do that by what? By knowing if I do this, you're definitely going to do this. So again, soft and hard personality is not where you want to be. You want to be within that medium personality, and this fits perfectly well with what we just discussed. Now, medium staff members, they know how to use the traits of both the soft and hard categories at the appropriate time and the right manner. The process needed to manipulate this type of officer or staff member takes more time. So check out these traits, guys. Cautious, firm, thorough, organized, fair, consistent, adaptable, analytical and self-confident, professional, quick to act, and loyal. Loyal to yourself, loyal to your family, loyal to your peers, loyal to the agency. That loyalty gives you an unshakable foundation. Now guys, you already know that some of the situations that expose us to risks is because we're exposed to offenders, we're in a help and role. Some officers that work independently are isolated, they become at risk, have an authority or influence over others. Remember, inmates are looking for a sense of control. So right off the bat, you have authority over them. That puts you as a target right off the bat because if I need to get control, I need to be able to control you. Complacency. Complacency will definitely put you at risk. Russ is doing a whole class on complacency. You guys should take that course. It's a great course. But if you're complacent, guys, sometimes you don't know it's a very slowly deadly enemy. So be wary of yourself. Check those policies and procedures and always check to make sure you're still doing things the way it's supposed to be done. Don't become lazy. Treat everything as a new situation. Also, we have a lack of experience of being conned. It's not something that we are exposed to every day, but when you work in that prison system, you will be exposed. So don't try to go tit for tat with an inmate who's a pro at this. The moment you sense that you're being played or you feel that you're being played, nip it in the bud. Don't try to play the game with them. You will lose. These are professionals. I want to go over a few more things before we finish off this video, but I want to just give you a final understanding of what manipulation is. So you guys understand that manipulation is about a gain or loss, right? So if you're a manipulator, you only see a relationship as a gain or a loss. What can I gain from this or what can I lose? And if you're at a loss, if the manipulator's at a loss, they feel that they're losing control. So manipulators must always feel that they're in control, which means that they have to gain something from the relationship that they're trying to get control of. Now, how do you recognize that you're being played? One thing is you have to know within yourself, again, it's all about being insightful, the bond that you have between that inmate. Recognize it. Is the bond an excessive, unfamiliar, undue bond? Also, that dependency between either you on the inmate or the inmate on you. Recognize that you should never, and we talked about this in obligation, reciprocity, never be dependent on an inmate. Never be obligated to an inmate. That is a definite sign that you're involved with them too much. Also, my old lieutenant told me way back when, I mentioned this in the older video, if you think about an inmate in any capacity when you're at home, it means you're too involved. Now, why would an inmate choose to manipulate somebody? So right off the bat, they're looking for a goal to be accomplished. There's something that they want to accomplish. They look at the personality and characteristics of the victims that they choose. That's why there's a game for everyone, guys, because the game adapts, it adjusts. They also look for the possible time it takes to get involved. So as I said, that medium officer, it takes too much time to manipulate that medium officer. So I'm going to move on and go after that soft or hard officer. And they also look for the location and physical layout of the area where the deception and or manipulation will take place. Guys, I'll give you, we talked about isolation. Sometimes there are officers that work at satellite posts that have no connection to peer staff. And what you need to do at that point is you need to reinforce a connection, which means that if these officers are isolated, then they should be visited more by support staff, by supervisors, just so the inmates can see that we're still connected. Now, why do inmates manipulate? They manipulate because one thing is they look for status among peers. Think about that. If I control a staff member, I get boosted in status. I get props. They want also control. If I control him, I control my destiny. So they want that level of autonomy. They also look for that personal reward or gain. I'm going to get something from this person, so I'm going to play them out until they're able to give me what I need, or just something as simple. I'm looking to control staff because I want to embarrass them. I want to humiliate them. Hey guys, look what I got this staff member doing. I got him looking all over the place for something that doesn't even exist. It's a game for them. And remember, manipulation only occurs if you allow it to happen. It's a two-way street. We talked about some of these manipulation tactics before, so just to, I guess, reiterate them. Flattery, zero tolerance for any type of flattery, sympathy, helplessness, especially if you're in a service provider role. Sometimes inmates will play that helplessness card because they know that you want to help, because that's why you're in the profession. Don't let them play you. Your help is defined by your prescribed role. Don't get taken out of that prescribed role. That confidentiality route we talked about, when an inmate tries to tell you something in secret and they know it's supposed to get an action or a reaction and nothing happens, that's because they know, okay, well, this person hasn't told anybody. That's why if an inmate comes up to you and says, hey, can I tell you something in secret? No, I'm going to report it. And that's great because they'll see that at that point that you're connected with support staff, you're connected with your supervisors. That confidentiality route is just a test to see where you go with that information. If you keep it inside, which shows that you're not connected to your peers, or if you tell your peers, which shows, yes, we're connected. Isolation, we touched multiple times on. Touching and sexual references, obviously zero tolerance for that. And coercion and intimidation. Guys, do not let inmates use fear tactics to get you to do something foolish. That's a way for them to get control over you. You need to get that control back. Inmate threatens you, you write them up, you do what you gotta do, you report it, but you do not let that inmate take control of you by that threat. If they get leverage on you, do the right thing and turn yourself in. Do not lose that level of control. That's what they want to do. They want to do that so you have no control and they get what they want. You have the ability to take that control back. It may not be in the best outcome that you want, especially when they've created leverage. But the thing is, once you know at that point that you're being played, do the right thing. Get control back and don't have anybody else fall victim for the foolish choices that you made. I want to talk about one last thing before we go to the last video, which is suicide manipulation. A lot of people will be wondering from the outside, like, why would an inmate play a game? Why would they pretend that they want to kill themselves? What can they possibly gain from that? Remember, guys, when dealing with inmates, you always have to question their motivations. Why are they asking you this, or why are they telling you this? Always question every inmate's motivation, every interaction you have with an inmate. So what I'm going to do here is, for suicide manipulation, now by the way, you have to treat every attempt of suicide, or every I'm going to go do this suicide, threat to kill themselves, you have to treat it as a real attempt, which means you have to run the gamut. But with that said, these are some of the reasons why inmates may fake a suicide attempt, just to get it out there. One is to elicit sympathy from staff. One is to avoid a court appearance, to obtain a housing relocation, to bolster an insanity defense, to get a trip or transfer to a hospital, to go on a transport to a mental health facility, possible escape plan, to obtain preferential staff treatment, or to seek sympathy and compassion from a previously unsympathetic spouse or family member. That's not an all-inclusive list, but that's some of the reasons. So again, look at the motivations. All because an inmate says that they're going to kill themselves, maybe it could be real or maybe it can't be, but at least I've given you some other motivations as to why they would say they would try to kill themselves. Now guys, one last video is video 9. We're going to talk about chumps. Now we're going to present you a defense against the games that inmates play. We've gone over some. I'll cover some new ones. And episode 9, the next video, should be the last video, which will complete my series on inmate manipulation. Okay guys, stand by for video 9. Video 9.